Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about why I believe Floyd Mayweather will fight Conor McGregor. I do believe this will actually happen. They could talk about Mayweather can say adamantly that this isn't going to happen or what have you, but I think there's enough to say that it can actually come to reality and come to fruition. I mean, firstly, this could be a very lucrative deal. Of an exorbitant amount of money could be made by both fighters, of course, if this fight does materialize. My understanding that both fighters may get $100 million each. Perhaps that could be the minimum. Maybe it'll be more. They could get $100 million each, at least if the fight does happen. And as many of you may know, there's already some trash talking, a war of words between these two combatants. And Conor McGregor seems very confident and self-assured based on what he states. He said something about Floyd Mayweather having a little head, and that he doesn't really dominate opponents, he wins by decisions. Now, I don't know as far as how many knockouts Floyd Mayweather has, but apparently in his fighting career, probably not that many, in contrast to just simple decisions that he won. But people have to recognize and be cognizant of the fact that wins are still wins. It doesn't matter whether you annihilate an opponent, you dominate them, you win in a competitive fight, whether you knock them out or not. Floyd Mayweather still has a flawless and unblemished boxing record at 49-0, I believe, and he would love to get that 50th win and be an infallible 50-0. That would look very good, and this could really build up a lot of money, not just for the two fighters individually, but based on one source online I was reading that this could surpass the $600 million, or approximately $600 million, that was generated by the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight 2 years ago. Now, I believe that could be unprecedented if they're able to surpass that amount if this fight does take place. Now, the thing about it is, it seems like that if this fight were to happen, which of course is pure speculation and conjecture at this point, if it were to take place, that there's almost everything but a unanimous opinion that Mayweather would win. I'm sure if they had any poll, would probably show, probably at least 90% would probably state that Mayweather would emerge victorious. But I don't think it would be that easy as people think, because, or what the consensus believes, because you got to understand, okay, Mayweather may be a very proficient boxer, he may be a very skilled boxer, but Conor McGregor, with the mixed martial arts, that does incorporate boxing into what he does as far as his fighting goes. So he has certain boxing skills, and he's going to have very good defense tactics, I believe, if this boxing match were to actually take place, which I really believe it will. I think a lot of this could be procrastination and stalling tactics on the boxers, or I should say the fighters' parts, the boxer being Mayweather, and of course the mixed martial arts fighter being McGregor. Now, McGregor, I believe, has some kind of legal issues or entanglements to deal with, and perhaps when that's taken care of, they may be able to go on and proceed with the fighting arrangements. Now, Floyd Mayweather, in his part, in his war of words with Conor McGregor, that is pretty much what he had stated, that McGregor, if he get his legal stuff taken care of, we can go on and go on to the proceedings to get this fight on the way. And I do envision this happening. I think anybody that says vehemently that it won't happen, I can't disagree with that more. I mean, you have all this hype that could be built up, you have the revenue that could be generated, not just for the boxers, but for likely a pay-per-view event. This will be of astronomical number in terms of money generated if this does take place. And keep in mind that Floyd Mayweather, I believe he's 40 years old, or at least he's going to be 40, I believe, later in February. So he is actually, I mean, obviously not getting any younger. I understand he still is equipped with a lot of skills. I believe he has very strong mental agility. I think he's one of the smarter boxers that I've ever seen, and he will go down. Whether he would win or lose this fight, if it does take place, he would still go down, at least in my mind, one of the 10 greatest boxers in boxing history. And McGregor, if he makes this transition for this one fight, at least, that could actually, I mean, he's already, I believe McGregor is probably getting more exposure and notoriety right now than he's had in some time, even with the fact that this is purely speculation that these two may actually fight. And I think with these fighters, that you have to remember that, as I stated before, Mayweather is going to be 40 later in February, and you have McGregor, who I believe is in his late 20s right now, so he's basically right about his prime in terms of his age. And I don't really see, if they were to fight, I don't think this is going to be some knockout by Mayweather in the first round. A lot of people predict this, but I think McGregor is very strong-willed. He already has some boxing ability, and I'm sure he's going to train extensively prior to this fight. And I think that will all factor into the equation. Now, do I believe Conor McGregor will win the fight if this does happen? No, I don't believe that. Most people do agree, will concur that Mayweather will win this fight and emerge victorious, but it's just a matter of how many rounds it's going to go before that happens. I could see it maybe going a few rounds anyway. Might go 3 or 4 rounds. I think it's going to go a little more than what the average person believes, because I'm factoring in McGregor's will, the fact that he's a little bit younger than Mayweather, and Mayweather's boxing skills might be a little diminished when this fight takes place, if it does. But I do believe very strongly that this fight will take place, and I see Mayweather winning this in I think of maybe 3 rounds, I'd say, if this does happen. I think McGregor will give him a little more of a run for his money than most people think. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment for why I believe Floyd Mayweather will fight Conor McGregor. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.